Lynn, can you come and tell us why there is this session?
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, we're gathered here today to benefit from Thai's new insight or Dhammador regarding the contemplation of the earth as our mother. And Jo Confino is a Guardian journalist from the UK, and he's been practicing with us these last 2 weeks in Upper Hamlet, and was inspired to ask Thai some questions so as to better understand how we can practice with and relate to these insights. And the questions will then, and Thai's answers will be made available on the Guardian website for everyone to watch. And Jo will also write an article addressing some of Thai's answers. And in that article there will be a link to the full text of Thai's intimate conversation with Mother Earth. So many thousands of people will be able to read and enjoy that text, as well as watch the edited video of Jo and Thai's answers to the questions. Okay.
Dear Thai, in the last 2 weeks in your Dharma talks, you've talked about the importance of seeing Mother Earth, the cosmos, and humanity as one and completely interwoven. You said, our nature is your nature. Can you just say a little bit about what you mean by that and why it's such an important insight?
This insight, this teaching can be found in the scriptures. In Mahayana Buddhism, we believe we are taught that everything has Buddha nature. So the nature of enlightenment is immanent in everything. In the circle of Zen Buddhism, they ask whether a dog has Buddha nature or not. And also in the Lotus Sutra and in many other Mahayana sutras, it is confirmed that there are a multitude of Buddhas in the cosmos. So before mankind appear on earth, there had been Buddhas, not in the form of a person, but in other forms. In the Buddhist scriptures, they speak of Buddhas as many as the sand of the Ganga river. So if we look into the Milky Way, we see that there are billions of stars, and each star can be a Buddha. Like the sun above us is a real Buddha, a Buddha that can provide a lot of light and warmth, a Buddha that can offer life. So it is possible for us to conceive a Buddha not in the form of a person. So what is offered today as a teaching and practice is not something really new, but a continuation of what has been said and practiced. It's clear that the Buddha Shakyamuni is a child of the earth, and he has expressed his intention to take care of this earth as he is a pure land. And therefore, we who follow the teaching of the Buddhas, we want also to accept this earth as our pure land. We don't need to look for a kingdom of Buddha elsewhere, a pure land where else. If we have enough mindfulness, concentration, and we go get insight that the pure land is available right in the here and the now. And the insight is that the kingdom of God is on earth. The kingdom of heaven is on earth. Air France has produced a beautiful sentence. Faire du ciel le plus bel endroit de la terre. To make the sky the most beautiful spot of the earth. We like to change a little bit. We say that the earth is the most beautiful spot of the sky. And if you look around and deeply, you realize that there isn't anything that is as beautiful as our planet Earth. And that is why we should not try to abandon this beautiful planet, searching for something far away, whether that is called Pure Land or Kingdom of God or anything. And if we get that insight, we see that the earth is not only the environment. The earth is us. And taking care of the earth, we take care of ourselves. And many people get sick today because they get alienated from Mother Earth. They forget that they are on earth. They have a body that is given them by Mother Earth. And the practice of mindfulness helps us to go back to our body and touch Mother Earth inside of our body and touch the earth outside of our body. And that practice can help heal people. So the healing of the people should go together with the healing of the earth, and that is the teaching, the insight. And this is possible for everyone to practice.
And why is it important for you to be talking about this now? So you say it's in scriptures, but you're bringing it very much into the front of your mind and to talk about it. Is it because you feel that the earth actually is in danger now, and that actually we need to go back to that real deep connection that we've lost?
In the Buddhist tradition, we believe that the teaching should be appropriate to our time, to our place. So whatever teaching that can respond to the real need of the people of the time should be a good teaching. And that is why this come to the foreground. That does not mean that this is the only teaching, but that is the kind of teaching that we need the most in our time.
Why do you think now is the appropriate time? What do you think the dangers are if we ignore this teaching?
So many have already spoken about the danger that we encounter. I just mentioned the fact that many of us in the human family are getting sick. And our sickness is the sickness of Mother Earth. And that is why that kind of enlightenment is very crucial. Without that kind of collective enlightenment, awakening, and then we cannot hope to have a change in our way of living, so that we can protect us and protect Mother Earth at the same time. And in Buddhism, we speak of meditation as an act of awakening. To awake is to be awake to something. To be awake to the fact that the earth is in danger, and living species on earth are also in danger. And that should be a collective awakening in order to have enough strength for a change.
And how do you think we can bring about that collective awakening? Because for most people, they lead very busy lives, they're living in cities, they're often got major problems in their families. How do you think people can come back to this really core understanding when their minds are so far away from it?
I think the best way would be to help them to be in touch with the suffering that they undergo now. Many people suffer, and deeply, and they don't know that they suffer, and they try to cover up the suffering by being busy. Maybe it's not because they like to be busy, but they want to get busy in order not to have the time to touch the suffering in themselves. So anything you can do to help them realize that suffering is there, and there is a way to take care of that suffering. And if we are skillful enough, we will help them to stop being busy, take the time in order to go back and take care of themselves, and at the same time take care of the earth. And you journalists, you can do things like that. You can practice that, and by your way of sharing your insight, your experience, you can help people do that. And we implement, we do that in our own way. We organize retreats, days of mindfulness, organize the practice of mindful walking, breathing, so that we can touch the suffering inside of us and around us, and realize that transforming the suffering is the most important thing, and not getting more money, fame, power, sex, and etc.
How do you feel is the best? So you talked about the fact that often people get stuck in the suffering and don't see a way out of it. What is you talk about obviously mindfulness and concentration, and then you get insight. For a lot of people, that seems very simplistic. That a lot of people say, well, that's not a way, that's not an answer for me. I've got too many problems. I've got no time. What would you say to people who who would find this, who would look at this and say, actually, how is this going to help me?
People are concerned to have a good life. Everyone wants to have a good life, a life that is pleasant, not burdened with worries and things like that. And they don't know the way how to lay down the worries, the fear, the anger, in order to enjoy themselves in their daily life. So we can very well propose to them a way of life, a practice, a way of living, so that they can improve the quality of their life right away, today. Suppose you tell them that, do you remember that you have a body? To have a body is something wonderful. And you have spent a lot of time with your computer. You forget that you have a body. You are not alive, you are not with your body. And when you are not with the body, you are not alive. So if you breathe in mindfully, practicing mindfulness, with one in-breath, you can already go home to your body and get the insight that you have a body. And a body is a wonder. And when you are with the body, spirit and mind together, you touch the insight that you are alive, you are there on earth. And you can get in touch with many wonders of life available to you, in you and around you. You can practice like breathing in, I am aware that I have a body. Breathing out, I smile to my body, which is a wonder. I enjoy having a body. With my body, I can walk on earth and enjoy the beauty of the earth. Something like that. So mindfulness, concentration, and insight should be presented in such a way. And then the practice of mindful breathing, the practice of mindful walking can help you to be there in the present moment in order to get in touch with the wonders of life, refreshing and healing that can nourish and heal you. And the practice of mindfulness also help you to be there in order to recognize that suffering is there, so that you know how to take care and transform the suffering. So they are very concrete things. We are not offering them philosophy, ideas, but real ways of practice, so that they can suffer less. They can begin to enjoy more of life, beginning with their breath, and then the body, their eyes. Suppose you say that, do you know that you have eyes in good conditions? This is a good thing. You practice breathing in. I'm aware that my eyes are still in good conditions. And if I open my eyes, I will be able to touch a paradise of forms and colors around me. And that will bring me happiness. When I'm mindful, I enjoy more my tea. While I drink my tea, I'm fully present in the here and the now. I'm not carried away by my sorrow, my fear, my projects, the past and the future. I'm here, available to life, and life is available to me. And when I hold a cup of tea, I look with mindfulness, and I see that there is a cloud in my tea. The cloud was in the sky yesterday. Today it is in my tea. And the cloud is a wonder. The tea is also a wonder. And I am also a wonder. And when I drink tea, this is a marvelous moment. And happiness is possible. You don't need a lot of power, of fame, of money in order to be happy. Mindfulness can help you be happy right in here and now. And every moment of our daily life can be a moment happy. It can be a happy moment. And if you tell them like that, and if you know how to do it, you set an example, and you can help people to do the same. And that does not take many years. It takes a few minutes in order to experiment, to see the truth.
One of the things you said in your talks is about, and you were just saying earlier about the Earth, planet Earth, our Mother Earth is not the same as the environment. And you said we need to go beyond environmentalism and beyond just having environmental activists. Can you just tell us a bit about what you mean by that?
We say that the earth is a bodhisattva. It means that the earth has many virtues that you can recognize. First of all, like the capacity to endurance. A bodhisattva, a real bodhisattva should have that virtue, that capacity to endure, perseverance. A bodhisattva should have the capacity to be solid, to be stable. And earth is solid, is stable. A bodhisattva should have the virtue of being creative. And the earth is very creative. She gives life to many species. A bodhisattva should have the spirit of non-discrimination. And earth does not discriminate. She embraces everyone, everything. She never gets angry at us, even if we do silly things. So a bodhisattva does not need to be a human person. A bodhisattva can be a star, a river, a mountain, a planet. And that is why when we look at our planet Earth, we should see her as a bodhisattva. And we should transcend the notion that the earth is something inhabited by a spirit, and that bodhisattva is a spirit inhabiting the earth. We should transcend that idea. We do not worship a spirit that stays behind the earth. Because we know that we are not caught in the idea that there are two things: the earth, which is a material thing, and the spirit of the earth, which is a non-material thing that inhabits the earth. Because our notion of mind and matter are just notions. We should be able to transcend both notions. And when we can realize that the earth cannot be described either by the notion of matter or mind, when we recognize the virtues the talent, the beauty of Mother Earth. Because something is born in us, some kind of connection, some kind of love is born. We admire, we love, we want to be connected. That is the meaning of love. To love means to be one with it, to admire, to adore. So that is the kind of sentiment that is born from your contact with the earth. And when you love someone, you want to say, I need you, I take refuge in you. So that is kind of praying. And that is not superstition. You love the earth and the earth loves you. You do anything for the well-being of the earth and the earth will do anything for your well-being. And that is the kind of outcome from that kind of relationship. So it begins with mindfulness, that you are there as a child of the earth, that you carry Mother Earth within you. Mother Earth is not outside of you, she is inside. Mother Earth is not just your environment. You are part of Mother Earth. And that kind of insight, of non-discrimination help you to be truly in communion with the earth. It's like in Buddhism, in the Buddhist tradition, every time we bow to Buddha, we say, the one who bows and the one who is bowed to. They are both by nature empty of a separate existence. Dear Buddha, you are empty of your separate existence, and I am also empty of a separate existence. It means that you are in me, and I am in you. You are made of non-you element, including the element me, and I am made of non-me element, and including you. And in that insight of interbeing, communication becomes truly possible. If you are only you, and I am only me, and we are two different entities, how can communication is possible? So when you wake up and you see that the earth is not just the environment, the earth is in you, you are the earth. You touch the nature of interbeing. At that moment, you can have real communication with the earth. That is the highest form of prayer. The one who pray, the one who is prayed to, are not two. So in that kind of relationship, we have enough love, strength, awakening, in order to change our life. Changing is not just changing the things outside of us. First of all, we have to get right view. Right view is kind of view that transcends all notions, including the notion of being and non-being, creator and creature, mind and spirit. And that kind of insight is crucial for transformation and healing. And only when you have that kind of right view, right insight, discrimination is no longer there, and there will be deep communion, mutual understanding, and every good thing will come from it. Because discrimination brings about fear, separation, hate, anger. And the root is the the wrong view that you and the earth are two separate entities. The earth is only the environment. You are in the center, and you want to do something for the earth in order for you to survive. That is a non-dualistic, a dualistic way of seeing. So to breathe in and to be aware of your body, and to look deeply into your body, and to realize that you are the earth, and your consciousness is also the consciousness of the earth, and that consciousness can be liberated from wrong views, and you are doing what the Mother Earth is expecting you to do, to get enlightened, in order to become a Buddha and to help other living beings, not only on Earth but in other planets. So the environment, we should not think of the environment as something apart. Not to cut the tree, not to pollute the water, that's not enough.
What would you say to, because one of the key messages you have is you talk about applied Buddhism, that it's not okay just to sit and meditate, but you talk about the need to address injustice and to address exploitation. So what would you say to those social activists who call themselves environmentalists and are fighting to sort of save the planet and fighting to save the species? You've talked about that you're not much help if you're angry yourself. But can you just talk a little bit about if you actually want to make a difference actively in terms of your sense of really addressing these issues, not just by your own actions of switching off lights or anything else, but actually really getting to the grips of it, of the issue. What would your advice be to people who really want to make a difference to the world?
In Buddhism, we speak of individual action and collective action. Sometimes something wrong is going on in the world, and we think that it is the other people who are doing it, and you are not doing it. But looking deeply, you see that you are part of the wrongdoing by the way you live your life. And that is why it's good to meditate on collective action. In a human relationship, when you suffer, you tend to blame the other person as the cause of your suffering. But you do not know that if that relationship has become difficult, it's partly of you, because of you. If you are able to understand that not only you suffer, if you are able to see that not only you suffer, but the other person also suffer, that is already an insight. When you see the suffering of the other person, you no longer want to punish, to blame. And maybe you want to do something to help that person to suffer less. But if you are burdened with anger, fear, ignorance, and you suffer too much, you cannot help another person not to suffer. That is why to do something for you to suffer less, that is very crucial. If you suffer less, you are lighter, you are more smiling, you are pleasant to be with, and you are in a position to help the other person to suffer less, more easily. So the same thing is true with activists. If you are angry, if you only blame other people for doing wrong things, you might not help. You might make the situation worse. And therefore, to change your mind, to remove wrong view. And just to remove wrong view, you suffer less already. You have not done anything yet. Just remove the wrong view and see that the people are victims. And you cannot condemn the victims. You can only help them. So that already makes you feel lighter, freer. You suffer less. And there are a lot of things to do in order for you to suffer, to suffer less. And I think all activists have to got a spiritual practice in order to help them to suffer less, to nourish the happiness in them, and to handle the suffering in them, so that they will be effective in trying to help the world, people. With anger, frustration, you cannot do much. You might make the situation worse.
Just wanted to move on to the subject of science, because you have a very strong interest in it, and you're doing your 21-day retreat next summer on the combination of science and Buddhism. Just on that, I'm just interested first about your personal interest. What brought you into your personal interest in science, and what have you personally learned from it?
Scientists are motivated by a desire to understand more. And Buddhist practitioners also are motivated by that kind of desire. But in Buddhism, we keep in mind that understanding will help us suffer less. Any kind of understanding, true understanding, will help us suffer less. And the Buddhist tradition has elaborated ways of practice in order to help people to suffer less. And in the process, they have found out many things about themselves and the world. They don't use the scientific method, but they have got a lot of insight, a lot of experiences. And I think they can share it with any other people, including the scientists. The scientists, they suffer also. And they may make use of some of Buddhist practice in order to suffer less, to enjoy more life. And many of them have done that. And we, in Buddhist tradition, we have found that science help us. Personally, I think that archaeology, philology has helped me a lot. Because thanks to this kind of science, we are able to identify Buddhist texts and know in what time these texts have been produced and so on. So I have a better knowledge about the evolution of Buddhist thought. And then chemistry, physics, and others have also helped us. Many findings of science have confirmed the Buddhist teaching on impermanence, no self, no birth and no death. It's like when Lavoisier said that there's nothing born, there is nothing dying, nothing is born, nothing die. We see that go perfectly with the Buddhist teaching. When you look into a cloud deeply, even if you do not use sophisticated scientific instruments, you can touch the nature of no birth and no death of the cloud. The cloud has not come from the realm of non-being into the realm of being. And that insight can be got by anyone. You can help people, non-science people, to see that. You can tell them that before the cloud appears in the form of a cloud, it did not belong to the realm of non-being. Because it was the steam, the water vapor, the hot sunshine, and this is only a continuation, the form of a cloud. So there is no birth, there is only a new manifestation, a new continuation. And when the cloud dies, it does not die. You don't see it anymore, but it has not passed in from the realm of being into non-being. It's impossible for a cloud to die. The cloud can become snow or rain or other things, but cannot become nothing. So it is possible for non-scientists to touch the truth of no birth and no death of the cloud. So what Lavoisier said goes perfectly with Buddhism, and we glad that scientists are saying the same thing, and that help us to help people to understand more easily the teaching of the Buddha. And when scientists talk about the law of conservation of matter and energy, they also confirm that nothing can be created in terms of matter or energy. And you cannot destroy matter, you cannot destroy energy. So that confirms the truth of no birth and no death. And if you accept the truth of no birth and no death, you have to accept the truth of no being, no non-being. Because birth means from non-being, you become being. And to die means from the realm of non-being, you pass into the realm of non-being. So if you transcend the notion of birth and death, you are able to transcend the notion of being and non-being. And you know that to be or not to be, there's no longer the question. Findings like that help us very much to confirm the teaching of the Buddha and our own experience. We have another way of helping people to see the truth and to touch the truth. And in Buddhism, the understanding of no birth and no death, no being and non-being is not for the sake of speculating. We meditate on that in order to transcend our fear, our anger, our discrimination, and we suffer less. And that is why we think that if scientists make good use of their findings and apply them to their daily life, they will suffer less, and they will succeed more in their work in the realm of science. And that is why a retreat for yogi and scientists is good, because both can support each other.
In terms of the understanding of the cosmos, so I mean, in ancient times there was a reverence for the earth and the sun, but from a very paganistic perspective. And one of the things science has done is given us this understanding of the cosmos and the interrelationships of planets and solar systems. Can you just talk a little bit about whether science has helped or can help in this understanding of interbeing and our connection to Mother Earth and the Sun?
I think science has been able to demonstrate the truth of no self, of interbeing. But scientists have not been able to apply that kind of insight into the realm of organizing our daily life, our society. So far, the insight of science have been applied in technology. That can be sometimes very helpful, but sometimes not helpful. But when the scientists work together with the yogi, they may change their way. They may think of trying to apply it to our daily life in order to handle suffering and happiness. There are those of us who agree on the truth of impermanence, but still behave as if things are permanent. So that is common for scientists and non-scientists. So we hope that one day scientists will be able to apply these kind of findings, non-self, into being, no birth, no death, into our daily life. We need the time in order to meditate and to apply this insight into our daily life. We need to do like in the Buddhist tradition, to have the time together, to do walking meditation, to do sitting meditation, to do Dharma exchange, in order to deepen our understanding and to try to apply this kind of insight into our daily life, so that we can transform our fear, our anger, our discrimination, which is very important. This is not technology, but it's very crucial to our happiness. Moral science. So applied ethics is on that. And one day scientists will participate in the work of applied ethics. Every kind of insight can be applied in ethics. So to say that science does not pay attention to the matter of morality and ethics, that's not true. Because any finding of yours in the realm of science should have an impact on the way you live. Like when Einstein said that he cannot believe God to be an old man sitting in the sky and decide things on earth. That kind of attitude that comes from his understanding of the world of the cosmos. So it has an impact on his personal life and the life of other people. And there are theologians who have been influenced by him, like Paul Tillich. And that German theologian said that he also cannot believe that God is a person. And that is the theme of our Christmas talk. We have to reserve that.
Can I just ask a little? There's a whole movement amongst businesses and politicians which says that the connection, trying to reconnect people to nature, is not working. And so actually what you have to do is put an economic or a monetary value on everything. So if before you cut down a forest, you have to think how much is the forest worth in terms of the soil erosion it creates, how much people will lose their value of being able to walk in the forest, etc., etc. They're trying to take nature down to put dollar signs on it, because they say that's the system we're in only values money, and therefore to work within the system you have to actually work with a monetary value to nature. Do you think that's a practical thing that we have to do, or do you think there's a risk that it might move people away from really connecting to the majesty of nature and to see themselves within the earth?
Even if we can set up laws like that, there will be people who try to trick in order not to continue their way. I don't think that will work. I think we need a real awakening, a real enlightenment. We have to change our way of seeing things. We have to change our way of thinking and seeing things. And this is possible. We have not tried really on that respect. Every one of us, whether we are school teachers, father, mother, brother, sister, or journalist, we have to do it in our own way, producing awakening, producing enlightenment, and bring right view into the mind of people, because right view brings happiness, bring right view, release the suffering, and in a very concrete way. And that is why we need to sit down like this and find ways, very concrete, to help. And there are plenty of us who are activists, who are eager to do something. And we should go this way. We should begin with ourselves. We should begin with removing our wrong views so that we can suffer less. And when we suffer less, we can be more helpful. We can help people to change.
And just finally, Thai, in terms of the letting go of the future, so you've talked about that nature, that the earth is not angry, but that there's always a need to rebalance. And that if we continue to create damage to the earth, then the earth will respond quite naturally, as it has done with other species in the past. And you've also talked in the past and in your recent writings about that possibly that the human species will be devastated or annihilated if we don't change our mind. How do you, again, just from a personal perspective, what's your view of how do we deal with the possibility that actually, if people don't change, that actually the human species may be devastated? How do you respond to that and feel about that?
We know that many civilizations in the past have vanished, and this civilization of ours can vanish also. The earth will take 1 million years in order to help recreate another civilization. So it's not a problem with the earth, because she has enough patience and endurance, and she can wait. But for us, human beings, we do not have that kind of endurance and insight and courage, and we can lose our hope, and we can get drown into the sea of despair. And when we are victim of despair, we cannot do anything. We can make the situation worse. So that is why we have to take care of our insight, our thinking, our mind first. And that is why meditation is something very important. To meditate does not mean that you get away from life, but you have the time in order to look deeply into the situation. To allow yourself to have time to sit, to walk, not doing anything. Just look deeply into the situation. Look into our mind and find ways to take care, to deal with the anger, the fear, the despair in us. And if we do not do that, other things we do will not bring any result. So to meditate is the most basic, crucial thing to do. You have to get out of despair. You have to get the insight, the non-fear. You have to preserve your compassion in order for you to be a real instrument of Mother Earth, in order to help other species. And our century should be a century of spirituality. Whether we can survive or not, it depends on it. We have to go home to us and look deeply, and that is the work of the Spirit. And that is why every one of us on earth should bring a spiritual dimension to their daily life, so that they will not be carried away. They know how to handle the suffering and the happiness. Any question from the Sangha? You should allow the Sangha to ask a few questions.
Perhaps a cosmic religion already exists, and that perhaps the way we understand our Mother Earth and the Sun, brought together with the tradition of Buddhist teachings and the discoveries of science, may already represent this cosmic religion. And I wonder if Thai could share some more about that for us to understand that more deeply.
To build a religion that is not based on dogmas and belief in the things we cannot verify. It is possible to have a kind of spiritual practice that is based on evidence. Like when we say that Earth, the great Earth, is a beautiful Bodhisattva. We are not creating anything from our mind. And this is something that everyone can check, that the great Earth is a real Bodhisattva. The most beautiful Bodhisattva we have ever seen. You don't need a belief. It is the reality, it is the fact that the earth is giving life And she's very beautiful. When you look around, you don't see any Buddha or Bodhisattva as beautiful as our planet. So when people say, let us abandon this realm of suffering in order to look for a spot that is more beautiful, we shouldn't believe it, because we already touched the truth. And when we say that this Bodhisattva has the talent, the virtue of endurance, of stability, of solidity, that is the truth. This Bodhisattva has the virtue of non-discrimination, that is the truth. She can embrace everyone, everything, she never discriminates. That is the truth. And this Bodhisattva is a manifestation, is a beautiful manifestation, like many other manifestations. The Milky Way, the sun, are also beautiful manifestations. And the earth has given life, has produced many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and saints. And that is the truth. The Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, the Virgin Mary, they are all children of the earth. And that is the truth. We don't need to believe anymore in anything abstract anymore. That is the truth. And we believe, we see that the earth, if she is possible to offer life, because she has non-earth elements in her. If she does not have the sun up there, how can she be able to offer life, create life? So the sun is on earth. And we know that many stars have sent us their contribution. Mankind is made of stars. The dust that we are that we are made come from many stars. So we can see that the one contains the all. The earth is not only the earth. The earth is the whole cosmos. It's like we, a human being, we are not something separated from the earth. A human being has the earth inside of him or her. So the earth, as a beautiful manifestation, she contains the whole cosmos in her. And if you go back to the earth deeply, we touch the whole cosmos in the earth. And we transcend the dualistic view that earth is only earth, cosmos is bigger, or something like that. And then if we get in touch deeply with the historical dimension, with the phenomenal realm, we begin to touch the ultimate dimension. We will touch the dimension of no birth, no death, no being and no non-being. And science is trying to knock at the door of no birth and no death. They have found the truth of no birth and no death. the true nature of everything. So when we touch the truth, our true nature of no birth and no death, it can transcend fear. So that is a kind of religion that is not based on dogmas. It's based on evidence and our own experience. And then that kind of religion can be built, can be formed, can be realized by both the existing religions, philosophies, histories, and science at the same time. And hopefully in the 21st century, we can come together and afford ourselves with that kind of religion, which will be able to unite people and remove all separation and discrimination. Because dogmatism has been the cause of separation and war a lot. And if each tradition make an effort in order to go in that direction, we will soon have that kind of religion that will be not be based on myth and belief, dogmas, but based on evidence. And that would be a giant step for mankind. Thank you. I think it's about time for lunch.